Welcome to my tutorial all about video formats. In this video we will be exploring some of the most common video formats for different technical devices, as well as the impact that each format has on the quality and the data rate of the encoded video. Video formats are made of two very different components, containers and codecs. A container usually consists of a video codec and an audio codec. This gives you a choice with how you record your videos and what the quality will be like. A codec is an algorithm that compresses and decompresses data, so it interprets the video file and determines how it should be played on your screen. A simple way to think of a container and a codec is to think of the container as a publication such as a leaflet, newspaper or a hardback book. These are all very different methods of publishing data, but all contain either words or pictures. A codec is how you choose to publish this data, so whereas you could publish a takeaway menu as a hardback book, it wouldn't be feasible and people would think you are bizarre for wasting that much money on making junk mail. It makes much more sense to publish the menu as a leaflet, as this is the default layout for this kind of information. Every video format has its own correct container and codec that go with one another, so such as a novel being printed on a hardback book, high quality images being printed on glossy magazines, and junk mail printed on leaflets as they're cheaper to distribute. It's important to remember with video formats that the reason that there are so many is because each format has a different compression and decompression algorithm. So whereas a lossy codec will simply remove all of the data that can't be perceived by humans, making it very difficult to get the data back once it's been compressed. A lossless codec will pick out a reoccurring pixel, such as the colour green for grass. It will simply use the same shade for the specified pixels, the area of grass, making the pixel always refer to this method to eliminate excess data, creating a much smaller file size without losing any quality. As smartphones haven't been around for that long, there is a limited number of video formats you can use on them. The main two video formats for smartphones are .3GP and MPEG-4. .3GP is just a simplified version of MPEG-4 that creates smaller file sizes that are supported more by mobile phones. MPEG-4 is one of the most universal video formats and the most updated, as there are many that are similar, such as MPEG-1 and MPEG-2, but they haven't stood the test of time and have soon become replaced by updated versions of themselves. MPEG-4 can be used for mobiles, TVs and internet use, as it's made for low bandwidth. There have been many different kinds of TVs over time, starting from the very first black and white set, ranging all the way to our smart TVs that you can use now to access the internet and even use to socialise with friends. The best quality TV you can buy right now is probably the 4K, which has a screen resolution of 4096 by 2160. This resolution means that the screen uses around 4000 pixels to create the picture. This is almost 4 times greater than a full high definition TV that has a resolution of around 1080. Even with a standard high definition ready TV, the resolution is still only 720p, so it proves how crystal clear the image will be. As you can see from these two clips, the resolution of footage is very important when it comes to deciding what kind of quality you want your video to be at. For instance, you won't need full HD to play videos on your mobile device, as this will take up a lot of storage and also will take a long time to buffer. so the lesser quality on this side will be more suited to devices with smaller screens and less need for crystal clear pictures. Whereas, if you're showing your video on a widescreen TV, then you want the highest quality you can have to get the cinema experience in your own home. One of the popular containers for TV is AVI, which is Audio Video Interleave. This has been around since the 90s and was initially developed by Microsoft. Although it's an old format, it's still widely used due to its durability. Over time, there has been so many different video formats we've lost count. So to sum it up nicely for you, we're going to show you a few of the most popular containers that you would have probably used in your video watching lifetime without realising. .mov is an Apple development, and whereas it does support a wide range of codecs, Apple is fully in charge of what they decide to support, making it difficult if you have a Windows and Mac setup, as Apple makes it difficult to spread films across the two mediums. FLV is a flash video container, mainly used for streaming media across the internet. It doesn't work very well on mobile devices though, due to an agreement made between Adobe and Apple that they didn't support each other well enough to work with one another. ASF is one of the best protected files due to the fact that the container can include DRM, which is Digital Rights Management, which is a form of protection for the file. This helps protect the media from being downloaded illegally, as it stops copyright infringement, as it puts a digital lock on the file, meaning you're unable to open it if you got it from somewhere you shouldn't have. A codec that's worth remembering is H.264, as this is the codec used mainly for digital camera and camcorder footage. It's also very flexible to your needs, as it can change from being used at very high bit rates and very low bit rates, depending on the task you're doing. The container that goes with this codec is Advanced Video Coding, High Definition, better known as AVC-HD. This is a file-based format, meaning that it's been specifically made for playback and for storage on other disks or hard drives. It's one of the most used, as it's capable of full HD video or lower quality videos if needed for your camcorder files. As we've demonstrated, there are lots of containers and codecs to make up different combinations of video formats. There are even some codecs that are actually containers as well, such as MPEG-1, but we won't talk about these as they're pretty outdated and things will start to get confusing. Sample bit rates are an important thing to consider when choosing which format is best for you, because it might depend on how your system can handle certain formats, as not every video format is suitable for every user interface. For instance, a standalone EXE format will not be very useful for Mac or Linux users, because this kind of format is not compatible with either. To give a basic understanding of sample bit rates, they are a part of a video format along with its container and codec. Some of the most common bit rates are 9.8 megabit per second, which is a DVD using MPEG-2 compression, 8 to 15 megabit per second, which is high definition TV quality. Obviously, the higher number of megabits per second you're getting, the higher the quality of the overall video. Blu-ray discs can have up to 40 megabit per second, which is why you have to own a special Blu-ray disc player. This is due to DVD players using a red laser to read the disc, whereas a Blu-ray DVD player will use a blue or violet laser that can read more data per second than your standard DVD player. It is good to know that you can play standard DVDs in a Blu-ray DVD player, as the lasers adjust the wavelength so that the disc can be understood. Over time, there has been a greater need to get rid of chunky videos, and with that in mind, there has been a rapid decrease in the size of the tapes. For instance, we started with the clunky VHS video home systems that you would have to rewind back to the beginning once you'd finished watching it. Even if this was a pain to do, the VHS gave us 5 hours worth of video on one tape. We then moved on to the slightly smaller mini DV tapes. Although these were a fraction of the size of the VHS video, it still wasn't enough for the consumers that wanted the next big thing. The biggest invention for video formats was the DVD, Digital Versatile Disc, that was compatible with computer disk drives as well as our gaming consoles and of course the DVD player. These meant that we were capable of not only having a whole high quality film on this slimline disc, but we could even have extras such as extra footage and interviews with the actors or actresses. Although these discs are slimline, it doesn't mean they come without their problems, as they can be easily scratched or damaged due to how cheap they are to make. Blu-ray is now one of the highest qualities of video you're able to get in your own home. Although it's expensive to change your beloved DVD collection, you'll never want to watch anything that's not in full HD again once you're used to the exceptional quality these discs can offer you. So the reason why we need so many video formats is because nobody is using the same type of videos on the same system for the same reason. This means that every interface is going to need different requirements if they're going to support the content to their highest ability. It's also the reason why we're able to get rid of the chunky cassette and store more data on a single disc than we ever thought possible. The answer is, there is not one video format that will suit everyone's needs. The truth is it totally depends on what device the person is watching on. Will they need a good bandwidth connection to see the video? Are they watching on a tablet? Are they watching on a Mac or a Windows PC? And so on. You've just got to make sure that you ask yourself these questions before you choose your container and codec. Otherwise, you might find yourself with a video that won't play on any of your applications because the format you selected isn't supported by your system. Whether it be because you've set the quality too high for the internet speed in that area, meaning it could take up to 2 hours of buffering before you can watch the film completely, or whether you've put it into a flash format for someone who's trying to watch the data on a tablet, as it won't work because it's not supported by that cooperation.